Okay, it is important to make sure you know exactly which motor you're working on. On the back of the engine, there is a label that has the model number and serial number of the engine. The model number in my particular case is a 31P777 and a bunch of numbers. The important number to know is the 31 series. So in this case it'd be a 310000 type motor, and when you look this up on the Briggs Stratton website, it'll show you exactly which manual belongs to this particular engine, so you can get the specs correct for your valve adjustment. Okay, once you have your part number picked up, you're going to go to the web page. This is actually a PDF that's on the Briggs & Stratton website. Move that up so you can see that a little better. I'll have the links in the description down below. But bring this thing up and then go look for the part number. In my case, it's a 31P700 engine, and that tells me that my manual number is 276781. Once I have that, then I can go to manualslibrary.com, type in the search for that number, and then it'll bring up the actual instruction manual, and you can either download the whole manual, or you can just look at the specific pages that you're interested in, but it'll show you the information that you need specifically for your engine. Finally, in my case, I just screen captured the things that I needed. This is my model 310,000 vertical series engine, and it's going to show me my intake and exhaust clearances, which are the things I need. It also has, whoopsie, it also has all the different sizes or torque values that are necessary. And finally, there's a separate chapter in the manual that shows you how to adjust the clearances and tells you exactly what to do, and we'll go through this as we go through the video. But it's very important to just follow this per the manufacturer's specs, so there's no confusion. And finally, before we get started, just to make the job easier, I took off the little engine guard covers that were on the back of the mower, just so I could have better access to the valve cover itself. I'm going to set this on a tripod and get set up so that we can start taking it apart. Next step is to take the valve cover off and to pull out the spark plug. Spark plugs, just like any other spark plug, take the plug wire off. Pull the spark plug out. There we go. And of course, when we take the spark plug out, we're going to want to take a quick look at it. This one actually looks pretty good. I will go ahead and replace it anyway. I think we have close to 300 hours on this motor, so. Okay, next will be the valve cover itself, just four bolts around the valve cover. Sometimes these will come right off. Usually they require a little assistance with a chisel and a hammer. There we go. My particular model does not have a gasket, It uses a forma gasket, so I went ahead and you can pick this up at a parts store, but I went ahead and ordered the stuff from with the rest of the supplies that I bought for the service. Put this aside, and this is your drivetrain. You have your exhaust on the top and your intake on the bottom. There's a lot of people on YouTube that tell you this is backwards. They tell you this is intake and that's exhaust. It's not the truth. Here's your exhaust pipe right here. There's your exhaust out up here, and this is the valve for it. There's also, if you can tell here, you can tell it with a magnet, there's a steel push rod here and there's an aluminum push rod here, and you can test that with a magnet if you're absolutely not sure. But I looked in the manual for mine. It showed me what which one was which, and it was very obvious. I'm going to try and soak a little of this oil up, get it out of here, and then we'll move on to top dead center. Now we're going to find top dead center on the cylinder. I've already rotated this once to get it to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to go ahead and go through an entire rotation. This needs to move, the flywheel up here needs to move counterclockwise through one complete cycle. Okay, there's the top of the compression stroke. And here is top dead center again. Okay, now everything is loose at this point. What they want to do according to the manual is go another 1/4 of an inch. So I marked 1/4 of an inch on my screwdriver here past the top dead center mark. And I'm just gonna turn this thing a little bit more, until we're right about 1/4 of an inch in. Everything's nice and loose. We're ready to make adjustments. I'm going to check the current settings on the valves just to see how badly out they were. I will start with the exhaust. I'm taking the smallest one I have, which is an 003. That fits in. 004. Yeah, that gets in just barely. It's pretty tight. I'll call that one 004, and I'm betting the intake is 003 on a good day. Yeah, it is tight at 003. Okay, so they're a little bit tight. We'll loosen them up here. Now I'm going to loosen these grub screws. They're very, very loose. As all they do is just lock in the nuts that hold the rockers down to adjust the rockers. Then we're going to run our exhaust first. I'm going to set that for 007 because I like to run my valves just a little loose. That's the maximum it's supposed to be run. So I will locate 007 here. There we go. Got 007, make sure I don't have anybody hanging on behind him. And all I'm going to do is just slip this thing in here, back that nut off until it gets in there, and then just snug it up until I've got a little bit of resistance. And it doesn't take much. Once I've got it right about where I want it, I'm going to prop that up, hold on to my adjusting nut with my wrench, and we'll go in here and just snug that grub screw up just a little. It doesn't take much, guys. I'll come back and torque that one when we're done with the adjustment. So now I can check my adjustment here. I've got just a nice little, what they call stiction, a little bit of friction in there. So that looks real good. And then the intake was 0.005. So let's go get that guy. All right, 005 here, slide him in, get that one supported. Let's see if I can find another kickstand like I had before. There we go. All right, and just a little bit of friction there. And just like that, we've got a nice valve setting. So I'm going to grab that nut right where he is and snug. Now, check this guy out again. No play. Okay. Now the valves ended up being set they were originally set just a little too tight, which is how valves go to die. As it's set right now, we should be good to go. So I'll come back and torque these in just a second, and then we'll be ready to clean up and button it back up. All right, time to button it up. What I've done so far is I've cleaned up all the surfaces on the face of the head, and I've put on some pretty ugly looking goop on the valve cover itself. It should all smush out and seal up just fine, and all we're going to do is put the valve cover back on. One thing I did do is I went back and double checked my torque on my grub screws and double tested the clearances on the valves. So everything looks good, so I'm just going to go ahead and get ready to close this thing up. The best way to clean these surfaces is with a scraper to get the big stuff off, and then just take a steel wire brush afterwards and it'll clean it right up. Okay, so I'm going to put a screw in here so I can get as much of a lineup as I can. Put this guy back on here. Get the second one started the same way. Whoa. I'll start the one here. Okay, get these things kind of piloting in. And then we can push it in and get the final tightness on it. There we go. That should be good. Some of these come with a gasket, some of them use the sealant. I would think the gasket ones will probably be easier, but the sealant ones usually seal up better than anything. And it doesn't matter if a little goop squeezes around the outside of this. There's probably a little tiny bit on the inside too. There we go. All right. I've got a torque wrench set for 60 inch-pounds, which is what my manual calls for the correct torque on these, which isn't much. Okay, one more around. Good. 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 And good. Okay. This head's aluminum, and these screws, of course, are steel. Anytime you put steel into aluminum, get your torque wrench out. It will save you a bad hair day someday. Next thing we're going to do, put spark plug back in, and then I'm going to allow this sealant to set overnight because it is in a liquid form, and I don't want it to get washed out or anything with the engine oil inside. It's probably okay to run it right after you put it on, but I think it's just better off to let it cure. Anyhow, be right back with a spark plug. Spark plug, we got a nice new spark plug here. I just checked the gap to make sure the gap is set to 030, which is what my manual specifies for the spark plug gap. I'm going to put a little, just a smidge of anti-seize on it, just to give the threads a little coating of anti-seize so we don't have any problems inside. Not a whole bunch, just a little bit. There we go. It'll spread itself around. That keeps things from fusing in the future. Okay. Spark plug wrench, or excuse me, the torque wrench is set to its 180 inch-pound torque. There we go. That looks good. Spark plug wire. And that's pretty much it. Last thing to do is start up, make sure it runs, but I'll do that in the morning. So that's pretty much all there is to changing these or setting these valves on these engines. Again, just a quick recap. Make sure you have the right manual. Make sure that you have the correct engine number so that you can make sure you're dealing with the correct specs. Cover off, spark plug out, rotate the engine counterclockwise as per the instructions in the manual to top dead center plus 1/4 of an inch further down to release the possibility of the decompression lever affecting the valves. Then I always check my settings first, write those down so I can see how the valves are moving over time, and then set your valves, retorque your grub screws, clean up and put your gaskets back on, new spark plug in, plug, let it dry, and you're all done. Anyway, hope this helps somebody out, and have fun.